Hey guys, sorry about the low lighting in here today, but if I turn my light on, I get a really bad reflection. I have a bad lighting situation, I guess is the way to put it. But today we're going to be talking about raccoons, and I made this video a few weeks ago. Some of you may have actually seen it. I didn't take the deck seriously because I just started playing it. I really enjoyed it, but when I was doing my deck profile, it's kind of very laissez-faire, and now that I've played the deck for the better part of a month and a half, I feel like I have a way better understanding of, how the deck works, what's good in the deck, what isn't good in the deck, and possible changes in the future with Dragons of Legend coming out in less than a week. This deck does have some changes that it needs to make. So, I've been playing this deck again for the better part of a month and a half, and within the last 2 weeks I finally started winning with the deck at locals, meaning getting first place undefeated type thing. I think there was a 3-week period where I lost to Mermails in finals, and then I lost to TG Stun in the finals 1 week because he flipped over Horn of the Phantom Beast in a last-ditch effort. He knew I had game next turn, but he was just going to see what he drew. He had no cards in hand. Normal summoned it was like a Hazy Flame Cerberus, which isn't a bad TG Stun card now that I think about it, because it replaces itself 2k beat stick under skill drain. But then he drew Dark Hole off of the Horn of the Phantom Beast. So he ended up Dark Holing my field and, just maintaining advantage from there. And, he ended up winning. And, props to him. It was actually one of the best matches I've had in a long time. I was just on the losing end of it. I had a blast playing it, but, it is what it is. Anyway, last 2 weeks, I've been able to beat Mermails, Geargia, the best decks with this build right here. So let's go over it. If you don't know about raccoons, I'll try to explain. I'm not going to go super in-depth into what they do, but I'll give you pretty much a basic rundown. This is Ponpoco, and he's like the first baby raccoon. And he has 800 attack, 0 defense, level 2 Earth Beast. But what's important about it is that when he's normal summoned, I can special summon a level 2 Beast face-down defense position. Now, what we're going to be special summoning is Tantan, but some builds will run Raikou. Raikou is actually a target for Ponpoco, so you can go Ponpoco, special summon Raikou face down, and do things from there. But Tantan, I think, is a better target, and Raikou, overall, I felt like I didn't need him. And I have lots of space issues with this deck. I wish I had 10 more slots. Really, I do. So many things I want to run in here all at the same time. And you have to make hard choices with the deck. Pretty much whenever I'm making choices about the deck, I'll put all the cards I know I need in one pile, all the cards that I may not 100% need in another, and then I'll just start cutting from that second pile. Makes it a lot easier, less intimidating, like, man, what am I going to cut? There's some cards you can't cut. I'm playing 3 Tantan, and when he's flipped face up, I can special summon a level 2 beast from my deck to the field. So pretty much these guys work in unison. This guy sets him, and whenever he's flipped up, he gets a beast out to the field. And it's quite good. There's a few really good targets for him. And he's not a bad card, You want to open with Obedient School, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if you can't open with Obedient School or Ponpoco, you want to open with Tantan and just set him. Good application. He's at 0 attack, 800 defense, the opposite of Ponpoco. Next we have Wind Up Kitten. And this is a card I've played different numbers on for the last few months. Or last month and a half. I've been playing a different amount of these. I started with 1, went up to 3, now I'm at 2. Actually, after I went to 3, I went back to 1. Now I'm at 2. So, pretty much the reason we played 2 and not 1 is because Beals exists in the format, and he's a good answer to Beals. I've already slain many a Beals with this card, and it feels great. He's just a 1-card answer to any Exceed or Synchro once per turn, once while he's face up on the field, so you can only use this once. You can bounce a monster back to the hand. So with his 800 attack, he gets under Bottomless Trap Hole, so your opponent has to make the decision when you drop this card, Torrential, Warning, do something to get rid of it, or else they're going to lose their monster, and it baits out Warnings quite a bit, actually. So we are going to run 2. It's a great card for the deck, and, again, I've seen people run 1 and run 3. I think 2 is the best number. This card, there's a lot of debate about. When he's special summoned by a beast, meaning by Tantan's effect, he can pop any card on the field. That's really good. What's really bad is that if he's in your hand, he's dead as shit. And I was playing 2 of these guys for the longest time, and I decided to test one, and I've been testing one for the last 2 weeks, and those are the weeks I've won the tournament. I mean, I don't think those exactly correlate together, but, you know, there are some situations where I'll draw into this guy and have a Tantan set, and I'm like, shit, now I don't have a pop when I flip it over. But drawing into this guy less often is actually really good, and whenever you get his effect off, you know, people know about this card at this point. It's been out for long enough, so when they know you have set Tantan, they have to play around that Tantan, because they know if they flip it up, they're going to be losing a card on their side of the field. If they don't flip it up, you're going to flip it up on your turn, and they're still going to lose a card. So it makes them really think about their plays, and a lot of times they'll misplay trying to play around this card. 1, Fabled Cerberus. This card, we don't really care about its effect. All you care about is a level 2 beast that can be used to, it's a tuner, enemy can use to make Unicorn, which is a big part of your extra deck. And has won me many games. So we are running 1 Cerberus, 1 Tree Otter. There's different cards you can run here. I think there's Sea Koala, Tree Otter, Cat with white tail, weird shit. Pretty much this is the best one. What he does, if there's another beast, he can boost any monster on your side of the field by 1,000. So if there's another beast on the field, boost by 1,000. What that means in the deck is that we can boost a monster and then make a token. So, for example, if I had a Naturia Beast, I boost it by 1,000, then make a token, and the tokens off the Sandaiyu are made to equal the highest attack on the field. So, while his attack game is only till the end of the turn, that token you make will always retain that attack. So, it's really good, and he's just a nice level 2 beast to have in the deck. I love this guy. I'll never cut him. Next is Elephun. Pretty much there's a first turn play, where you end with a Sandaiyu and a Nat Beast that I go into more often than not. It's a really good play, and you need Elephun to do it. So I'll show you that combo at the end. He's a level 2 Earth Beast tuner. That's all you really need to know. So that's it for all the beasts. Decent lineup. They all are weak as hell by themselves. That means that Skill Drain really hurts this deck. And I played against Skill Drain yesterday. A guy was sided into it in Gravekeepers, and I almost lost because of it, but Full House is a card in it, and it saved my butt. So that is all the beasts. So now we have the guys that kind of assist the beasts. We have Double Junk Synchron. Some people will run 3 and Andorota in this spot. Some people will run 1. I run 2. Pretty much any of your level 2 beasts, plus this guy is a rank 5, or excuse me, a level 5 Synchro. My go-to one is Armades and Junk Warrior, actually. And we'll talk about Junk Warrior later when we're going through the extra deck, because he has some really interesting applications in this deck by himself. Also, you can go into Frozen Fitzgerald, which I thought I'd be doing a lot more, but Armades just does what Frozen Fitzgerald does, but better. But Frozen Fitzgerald does have higher attack. So, depending on the situation, you'll go into either one of those. We have 2 Veilers. I have a lot of people saying, oh, Veilers aren't that good right now. And I can understand why they say that. You know, Mermails and Boojans, it doesn't necessarily hit those cards as hard as other decks, but I still find myself using this a lot because the Geargia matchup, this really helps with the Geargias. And actually at my locals, I still have like people who swear by Inzectors and weird shit like that. I like just to have them. You know, you can always side them out if you feel like the matchup isn't favorable for them. And again, why it's not good against Boojans is because Veiler pretty much doesn't affect stuff in the end phase. Dumb stuff like that. 1, Thunder King Ryo. Ryo, if you think about all the decks that add to the hand and live by X seeds, you'll understand why Ryo is just a staple at 1 in pretty much any deck. Even if you're adding stuff to the hand, if you have Ryo on the field, you're probably stopping a lot of your opponent's plays. So you can play around it, then drop Ryo. You're probably in a good spot. If you think about all the decks, okay, Mermails obviously need to add to their hand. Boojans, obviously, they use Tanky, and they have all those things to add to their hand. Geargia, the best decks, they add to the hand. You need to have an answer for it. And Thunder King is one way that will do that. Now we have Obedient Schooled. I can special summon 3 level 2 or lower effect beast monsters from my deck. Their effects are negated. And I can only special summon beasts the rest of that turn. So you use this, you special summon 3 of your little beasts, then you go into Sandaiyu, Nat Beast, things like that. We'll go over the plays later, but this is the card you need and want to open with. If you can start with this card, you're putting yourself in a great position to win. So we are going to run 3, and we'll talk about some of those plays later when we go over the extra deck. Triple Upstart. Now, again, this is the week before Dragons of Legend, and I still play Triple Upstart right now because I run a 40-card deck. If I run these 3, it's just the logic of Triple Upstart. You're running a 37-card deck. At the same time, I'm giving my opponent 1,000 life points, and with Soul Charge on the horizon, which uses life points to special summon out of the graveyard, I don't really want to be giving my opponent free life points. So I have to either be okay with doing that for my opponent, or find different cards to use here. The reason why we can't run Duality or Reckless is because our first turn is so important. If we're going first, we need the upstarts because we need to get off this play. It's our deck's backbone. Our deck without it is very mediocre. Our deck with this opening turn is very good. So we do need to run the upstarts because we need it our opening turn. We can't wait a turn for Reckless. We can't wait a turn with Pot of Duality. We need it now, and that's the way to do it. And we'll have to reevaluate it after Dragons of Legend comes out. We'll see what happens with Soul Charge, if they put it to 1 automatically, or what they're going to do. I have regionals next weekend, and Dragons of Legend is going to be legal, so I have to start thinking about this now. But 3 MSTs and 1 Dark Hole. That's only 10 spells. Not a very hefty spell lineup, which means there's a lot of traps coming. So, double Fiendish Chain. Played triple for a while, settled on double. The newest addition to the main deck is double Black Horn of Heaven. This card, it's really good. I was playing against Harpies yesterday. He had a pretty strong opening hand, and opening turn for him. I had one of these set, and he went to go into Dragosack, and this just says no. Anything that the good way, or rule of thumb, a lot of people don't know how to play around this. Anything that Ryo would stop, this can stop. So any Synchro, any Xseed, any thing like a BLS, things like that. Inherent summons, this can stop. And it's spell speed 3, so good stuff. Now, we can main mistake in this deck. We do no tutoring to our hand out of the deck, which is one of the deck's weak spots, but we can play off its weakness by being able to main mistake. And all those decks that I said that Thunder King hit, mistake hits. Mistake, pretty much, continuous trap, your opponent can't add cards from their deck to their hand. So anything that runs Tenki, Gear stops Gear Armor, and the Xseed, what's it called? Gear Guy and X. Mermails, constantly adding to the hand. This stops all of it, and I would never go away from it. I know it's an expensive card. You can run things like Mind Crush in this spot because it kind of does the same thing, but this is a permanent stop, and you can really, if you flip this over first turn against Geargia or Bujins, I mean, you're going to win that duel, and it's really good, if they don't have the MST, of course. Double Mirror Force. We got a bunch of little guys, and sometimes we do need a turn, like with Ponpoco and Tantan, and of course Mirror Force is just great. Mass Removal is always great. Now we have Burst Rebirth. You pay 2,000 life points, and you can special summon a monster from your graveyard in face down defense position. Now, I was having a hard time thinking how many of these I wanted to play. The ideal play is that during your opponent's end phase, you flip this over, pay 2,000, and then you get out Tantan, which I know these cards kind of sound similar. Tantan is this one, the one that when he's flip summoned, you get a beast from your deck, and then when your turn comes around, you flip it up, make plays from there. You do it during your opponent's end phase because you can't attack the turn that it's activated, so you just do it on your opponent's turn. There's a card coming out called Ayers Rock Sunrise. It is essentially a monster reborn for beasts. You can only use 1 per turn, but it's a normal spell, so I play it. I can special summon a beast out of my graveyard, and and my opponent's monsters lose 200 attack for every beast. Wing Beast there, and Beast Warrior, I think, on my side of the field. I don't know if it's Beast Warrior. I know it's Beast and Wing Beast at least. So pretty much, it doesn't do the exact same thing because Tantan being special summoned is so good, but Ayers Rock doesn't have the 2,000 life point cost. And if I can use Ayers Rock Sunrise, which I'll put a picture up right here. right here of Ayers Rock Sunrise. It's coming out in Dragons of Legend. Should be relatively easy to get. These may get cut for it. So Ayers Rock Sunrise doesn't have a 2,000 life point cost. And if late in the game I have a wind-up kitten or a tree otter, we're talking about being able to bring back a compulse, reuse a compulse, bring back a monster that's going to boost by 1,000, and the card itself is going to debuff my opponent's attack. So it's Ayers Rock Sunrise has a lot of potential in the deck, and it's likely going to be fit into this Burst Rebirth spot because with only one Kalantosa, I was having a hard time rationalizing 2 Burst Rebirths as it was. So this will kind of fix that problem for me. I'll replace these 2 with Ayers Rock Sunrise on Thursday or Friday whenever I get my my packs. So Torrential, if you run if you get 2 Sandai out there, it's actually a lock where none of your Sandai is going to be destroyed by battle or card effects. So pretty much you can, go double Sandaiyu and then flip over Torrential, nuke their field, still have your 2 Sandaiyus. Anyway, just mass removal needed right now, definitely. Especially with Soul Charge coming out, you do need to run that one. We do run the Compulse and the Warning, and that rounds out the deck. A few cards you may notice that I'm missing. I'm not running Compulse currently. And that was a really hard decision. I needed room, and I pretty much rationalized everything. Compulse almost went into this spot here, but Burst Rebirth was doing work for me at the time when I made the decision. I have 2 compulses with legs in Wind Up Kitten. That's the way I kind of rationalize it, because the reason why Compulse is important right now is because Beals exists. It's the reason why I'm running Kitten at 2, and I just kind of rationalized it that way, that if I can get a Kitten off of a Tantan or anything, I can still deal with Beals and be fine. So that's why I'm not running Compulse. The other one would be like Book of Moon or Forbidden Lance, Trap Stun. I'm not running any of those. And it's all about room. Again, I said I wish I could run it a lot more. I just can't. So, oh my gosh. Watching the Mavericks game right now, we're not doing too well with 3 minutes to go. Anyway, extra deck. 1 Black Rose Dragon. This is one of those cards that you want to have the ability to make. I've been playing this deck for a month. I have never once resolved a Black Rose Dragon, or really needed to. But you have to have the option, because especially with Ayers Rock Sunrise coming out, if you have a rank 5 out there, or a level 5 out there, and you have no answer, you can always just Ayers Rock a Cerberus or an Elephant to go into a level 7 and nuke the field. So, I mean, you have to have the ability to do it, and you do need to run the 1. I'm running double Downerd Magician, which we'll talk about later, actually. Sandaiyu. This is the most important one. 2 level 2 beasts. You can overlay to make this guy. And you have 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense, kind of weak. But if there's another beast on the field, he can't be destroyed by card effects or battle. And when he can, once returned, he can detach a material to make a token whose attack is equal to the highest attack monster on the field. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you have the highest attack monster on the field, you're going to be poking in for a ton of damage. That means if your opponent has it, you'll at least have an answer to crash into if you don't have any sort of attack point gain. So, you build the deck around this. Again, if you have 2 of them out there, it's a lock because they protect each other. Just amazing things. And, yeah, so that's why. And when we run out of materials on this guy, he's just in 1,000 that can't be destroyed. He's not really much of a threat at that point. So we played Downerd over him. Downerd, you can play it over a rank 3 or lower monster, and it gains 200 attack per material that's attached to it, and it's a piercer. So I am running 2 because I use Sandaiyu, obviously, a lot. And then we have Nat Beast, which we'll go over that first turn play with those 2 here in a little bit. This spot right here, it's a level 4 synchro spot. So I've been running Balmung, which recruits out of the graveyard when it's destroyed. You could also run Armory Arm here. I was running Armory Arm for a long time, and I'm just testing Balmung right now. So this could really be Armory Arm or Balmung, or neither. With the changes with Ayers Rock and things like that, I'm thinking about going into Barkion, which I currently don't have in here. But Ayers Rock makes a lot more things possible. There's the Frozen Fitzgerald I mentioned earlier. Daigusto Phoenix, just a great rank 2. If I can, get out a, and this has happened before, if I can get out a Tree Otter with this guy out there, I can, swing twice for 2,500. It's really good. Junk Warrior. Why is Junk Warrior good in this deck? Well, obviously we can make him off Junk Synchron, but all of the tokens that Sandayu makes are level 1. So let's say I make a 2,000 attack token off of random monster on opponent's side of the field. When I Synchro summon the Junk Warrior, he gains the attack of all level 1 or lower monsters on the or level 2 or lower monsters on the field. That means he's going to gain anything that my tokens have. So I've gotten this guy over 6,000 before easily. He's just he's just a really great game ender. You know, sometimes he's not the best play, so you don't always just go into him because, oh man, he can be really big. Sometimes the Armades may still be the right answer. If you're looking at like a Lind on the other side, just be smart about it. But he can actually end games from any point, and he is a staple if you're running Junk Synchron. Aforementioned Armades shuts off everything, Girga Armor, Lind, things like that, and you can make them off Junk Synchron. Sandayu, Catastor, staple rank 5 or level 5. Unicorn. Unicorn is an amazing card. And he's a beast, so we can make him the same turn that we do Obedience Schooled. And depending on what you're playing against and what your hand situation is, depends on if you play Unicorn. If your hand matches your opponent's hand, he negates literally everything. And that's if it matches upon resolution, not activation. So we'll say that I start a chain, I have 4 cards in my hand, my opponent has 3. And I play this card, and they bottomless trap hole it. I can drop an MST out of my hand and target the bottomless trap hole. Even though that won't negate it, it'll still get that card in my hand. Our hands now match at 3, and at the resolution, this is going to negate it. This can negate spell speed 3, this can negate super polymerization, it can negate everything. It's a continuous effect. It does not go on the chain. So at the resolution, pretty much think, as the chain's resolving, do your hands match? Do they? If they do, this is going to negate it. It's that simple. I've had the thing about this card is that you have to be an asshole with it. If your opponent misplays and around Unicorn, they're like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. You can't be like, oh, that's fine, take it back. Otherwise, there was no point for you to make Unicorn in the first place. People over the last few weeks have done that. I've made a Unicorn, and they've misplayed around it, and I get the, oh wow, you're really going to shark me like that? No, I'm not sharking you. You misplayed around my card that I only put out there to negate your effects. So, the fact that your effect got negated, I can't feel too bad for you for. Sandayu, the third one, and a Gachi Gachi. So let's talk about that opening turn Obedience Schooled combo. Pretty much Obedience Schooled plus any level 2 beast in your hand is what you're going for. Let me get these cards situated. If you didn't know, I do all my videos in like one take. And that may be good or bad. I usually try to get that done for you. Not too much jump cutting and editing, which may or may not be a good thing. So pretty much, Obedience Schooled. We get out 3 level 2 beasts whose effects are negated. Actually, let's do these 3. And depending on what you have in your hand, depends on what you'll summon off this. But you need to summon Elephant as one of them. So there's your 3 beasts. Now you can normal summon any level 2 beast out of your hand. So in this case, we'll say it's the best card you could get, which would be a Ponpoco, because then you get to set a Tantan as well. So off of 2 cards, you now have 5 on the field. It's amazing value. So the play is very simple from here. You overlay these 2, and you make a token. Activate effect. I'd normally get rid of Tantan first, because if I get Burst Rebirth, I want to have fuel for it in the graveyard. So now you get a Raccoon token. It's a level 2. It's a level 1 whose attack is equal to the highest attack on the field. So at this point, it's an 1,000 attack token. We don't care because we're just going to synchro all of those up together and make Nappies. And this is a very standard opening for me. I do it all the time. And you pretty much just go from there. So now you have a Nat Beast, a Sandayu that's going to be able to copy Nat Beast's attack next turn if need be, and a Tantan locked and loaded to flip over into Kalantosa to pop a card. So you have a lot of different things. And if you draw into Kalantosa, you can flip this up, and now you can get a Wind Up Kitten to bounce a card. You can get a Tree Otter. You get Tree Otter out here, boost your Nat Beast to 3,200, then make your token. So now you have a 3,200 token. A lot of different things you can do from this point. It's a very strong opener, and depending on what your deck you're playing, this card alone will probably get you where you need to go. If you have a lot of protection, I would actually recommend kind of playing smarter with this guy. Don't run into a mirror force if you don't need to. Maybe play him in defense mode if you have some things to protect him. Because if you'll know from your opponent's play the next turn if it's really harming them or not. And from that same spot that we were just at with all those on the thing, you can actually go into, we'll just pretend like this was all out there. You can actually just go into double Sandaiyu, and again, this is a lock where neither one of them can be destroyed. And Sandaiyu lock here. That's the same play. Obviously, you wouldn't have to get Elephant as a tuner. You just need 4 level 2 monsters to pull that off, which again you can very easily do. And from this point, you can remove materials, get tokens, do amazing things. So you can dark hole over this; they'll protect each other, nuke all their stuff. Really nice thing. So that's the deck. Again, things might change with Ayers Rock coming out next week. We don't know yet, but we'll figure it out. Dragons of Legend is definitely going to change the format, and we're going to have to adapt and change with it, or we're just going to get overrun. So I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I know it wasn't as fun as my last one, but I felt like this deck deserved a serious profile with me explaining things in a normal tone, maybe not so crazy as it was last time. But I appreciate you guys stopping by, and if you have any questions about raccoons, post them below. I really like doing these videos for you guys, so I appreciate you watching. Sorry it's been a while since I made a video, and sorry about the lighting again. But after Dragons of Legend comes out, we'll see. Again, I'm playing in a regionals next weekend. I'm going to be playing this deck, so hopefully I can get a top, or at least get my invite. So have a good one, guys, and I'll talk to you later.